My name is Emily Carter, and my life has been a storm of seizures and shattered dreams. I was only 6 when the first one hit, a violent, unexplained convulsion that left me trembling on the floor of our small Brooklyn apartment. The doctors called it epilepsy, a word that became my cage. Pills became my daily ritual, and I was forbidden from anything that might spike my heart rate. No running, no sports, no reckless childhood adventures. My parents, David and Laura Carter, enforced this with an iron grip. Their eyes always shadowed with worry, or was it disappointment? I could never tell. But what cut deeper than their rules was how they treated me compared to my younger sister. Lily, 4 years younger, was a spark of fire. At 8, she was already a basketball prodigy, dribbling circles around kids twice her size in our neighborhood court. Her energy lit up our cramped home, and my parents basked in her glow. Lily got home-cooked meals packed with protein to fuel her practices: grilled chicken, quinoa salads, fresh smoothies. Me? I got stale bread, canned soup, or whatever Lily didn't finish. Her closet overflowed with trendy Nike gear and bright sneakers, while I wore faded hand-me-downs from thrift stores. Birthdays, Christmases, school milestones, Lily was showered with gifts and praise. I was lucky to get a nod. I didn't hate her, she was just a kid, after all. But envy gnawed at me, a quiet ache for the freedom and love she seemed to own. One memory burns brighter than the rest. It was spring, my first year of middle school at PS 118 in Brooklyn. I was 12, Lily was 8, and her local basketball team had a big game across town. I woke up feeling off, dizzy, heavy, like a storm was brewing inside me. My parents were too focused on Lily's game to notice, so they left me home alone, promising to be back by noon. Stay in bed, Emily, Mom said, barely looking at me. Don't do anything stupid. I knew the risks. Feeling sick made seizures more likely. But alone, with no one to call, anxiety crept in, tightening my chest. By midday, the storm broke. A seizure hit, hard. My body thrashed, my vision blurred, and I barely managed to dial 911 before blacking out. I woke up in a sterile hospital room at NYU Langone, an IV dripping into my arm. A nurse, her voice soft but clinical, smiled down at me. You're safe, Emily. Do you understand? I nodded, my throat tight. I scanned the room. No mom. No dad. No Lily. Has my family been here? I asked, my voice small. The nurse's smile faltered. They're coming tomorrow morning. Sweetheart, you're on your own tonight. Tomorrow. They were still at Lily's game, probably cheering as she sank another shot. I was in an ambulance, and they didn't even care. I pulled the thin hospital blanket over my head, tears soaking the fabric as I choked back sobs. I wasn't their daughter anymore, just a problem they didn't want. After that, my parents started sending me to my Aunt Sarah and Uncle Mike's house in Queens. Sarah, my dad's older sister, and Mike ran a small indie game studio, crafting digital worlds from their cluttered home office. They had no kids, and to them, I was a gift. Emily, you're like the daughter we never had, Sarah would say, her warm brown eyes crinkling. Their home was a haven. They fed me hearty meals, lasagna, roasted veggies, homemade apple pie that I'd beg for seconds of. Sarah loved picking out clothes for me, swapping my threadbare shirts for soft sweaters and jeans that actually fit. They introduced me to their passion, a trading card game they'd designed. Set in a sprawling sci-fi universe, I'd spend hours battling alien factions on their dining table, losing myself in strategy and stories. Those weekends became my lifeline, a place where I wasn't defined by my illness. But everything changed the summer I turned 13. It was late June, the air thick with New York humidity. Dad drove me to Sarah and Mike's, my duffel bag stuffed with clothes for what I thought was a long vacation. The car ride was quiet, Dad's knuckles white on the steering wheel. When we arrived, he followed me inside, which was unusual. Sarah's face was tight, her usual warmth replaced by something heavy. Before I could ask, Dad spread his arms wide, his voice unnervingly cheerful. Welcome to your new home, Emily. We can't keep dealing with a sick kid. The words hit like a punch. I stood frozen as he continued. His tone light, like he was discussing the weather. Lily's got a shot at a basketball scholarship in Europe. We're putting everything into her future. So we can't cover your medical bills anymore. Sarah and Mike argued, their voices sharp with anger. But my parents were unmoved. They'd made their choice, Lily's dreams over my existence. I was being discarded. Sarah pulled me aside, her voice trembling. Your dad said you wanted to leave home. So I agreed. But seeing you now, I don't think you knew. We can fix this. Emily, you can talk to them. Fix it? The idea felt like a cruel joke. I shook my head, tears burning my eyes. They're not my family anymore. I whispered, please, Aunt Sarah, let me stay. I'll help around the house. I'll do anything. Just don't send me back. My voice broke, my body trembling with fear that I'd be cast out again. Sarah's eyes softened. She knelt in front of me, brushing a strand of hair from my face. Emily, would you like to be our daughter? Mike stood behind her, his usual goofy grin replaced by a quiet nod. I choked out a, yes, and Sarah pulled me into a hug, her warmth wrapping around me like a shield. Mike joined us, his hand resting gently on my shoulder. For the first time in years, I felt wanted. That summer, Sarah and Mike legally adopted me. Their home became my sanctuary. They encouraged me to try new things, cautiously at first, to see what my body could handle. My seizures grew less frequent. Maybe because I wasn't drowning in stress anymore. I dove deeper into their card game, joining local tournaments in Queens. By 16, I was competing in citywide events. My strategies sharp, my confidence growing. At 20, I won my first national championship, earning the nickname, Card Queen, in the competitive scene. The girl who'd been a burden was now a champion, proving her worth one match at a time. But the scars of my past lingered. I'd built a new life. Yet the memory of being abandoned never faded. I vowed to keep moving forward, to repay Sarah and Mike for giving me a home. Little did I know, my past would come knocking again, in the form of a sister I thought I'd lost forever. The winter of 2024 was colder than most in Queens, New York, but my heart was racing with warmth as I stood in my Aunt Sarah and Uncle Mike's living room, staring at a stranger who wasn't a stranger at all. She was a high school senior, her face older but unmistakable, with the same wide, curious eyes I remembered from childhood. Lily? I whispered, my voice catching. My sister, now 17, nodded, tears spilling down her cheeks. Emily, you remembered me, she sobbed, rushing into my arms. I'm so glad. It had been 10 years since I'd last seen her, 10 years since my parents, David and Laura Carter, cast me out of our Brooklyn home to fund Lily's basketball dreams in Europe. I was 23 now, the card queen of the national trading card circuit, living a life I'd built with Sarah and Mike's love and support. But seeing Lily, trembling and fragile on that couch, cracked something open inside me. What's going on? I asked, my voice steady but my mind reeling. Sarah sat me down, her expression heavy. Lily ran away from home. Emily, she showed up here this morning. My eyes widened. Ran away? Lily, the golden child, the basketball star? I turned to her, and she looked down, her hands twisting in her lap. Emily, I couldn't stay there anymore, she said, her voice breaking. It's been hell. What spilled out next shattered every assumption I'd held about my sister's perfect life. Lily told me how our parents had turned her into a puppet, forcing her into basketball since she was a kid. Every practice, every game, every moment of her life was controlled to make her a star, not for her, but for their pride. When I was sent away at 13, Lily had begged them to bring me back, even offering to quit basketball. I cried and screamed. Emily, she said, her voice raw, I told them I'd give it all up if you could come home. But Dad yelled at me, said it was all for my future, that I couldn't waste their investment. Mom called me their only child, like you didn't exist. The words stung, but they weren't surprising. What broke my heart was learning about the toll it took on Lily. The relentless training led to a knee injury that ended her basketball dreams by her junior year. She wanted to quit, to find her own path. But our parents refused. During a career counseling session at her high school, Lily finally snapped. I told them I was done with basketball. She said. Dad screamed that I was ungrateful. That I owed them for all the money they spent. Mom said I'd be nothing without it. Feeling trapped, Lily packed a bag and fled to Queens. Knowing I was her only safe harbor, I hugged her tightly, my own tears falling. Lily, I had no idea. I whispered. I'm sorry. She shook her head, her voice muffled against my shoulder. No, I'm sorry. You went through so much because of me. And now I'm asking for your help. Sarah and Mike nodded from across the room, their eyes soft but resolute. She's safe here, Emily, Mike said, and we'll figure this out together. But I wasn't just going to sit back. Lily's story lit a fire in me. I'd spent years healing from our parents' betrayal. But now they were destroying my sister, too. I made a plan, and Christmas Day 2024 became the day I'd face them head-on. The air was biting as I stood outside their Brooklyn brownstone, the house I hadn't seen in a decade. My heart pounded, but I pressed the doorbell, steeling myself. The door swung open, and there they were, David and Laura. Their smiles too wide, too fake. Emily, welcome back, Dad said, his voice dripping with false warmth. We've been waiting for you, Mom added, grabbing my hand. I pulled away, my voice cold. Waiting? After you threw me out? Their faces faltered, but they quickly recovered, ushering me toward the door. It's freezing. Come inside, Mom said, her tone syrupy. No, I snapped. This won't take long. Their smiles wavered, and I saw the neighbors' curtains twitch. Perfect. I wanted an audience. You abandoned me because I was sick, I said, my voice rising. You stopped my treatment to fund Lily's basketball camp. And now you're controlling her life, forcing her into a sport she hates, just to boost your egos. Their faces darkened. What are you talking about? Dad barked. We did what was best for the family. Mom chimed in, her voice shrill. You're the card queen now, aren't you? We're so proud. Come back home, Emily. I laughed, a bitter sound that echoed down the street. Proud? You're bragging to the neighbors, pretending you supported me. When you left me to die. The argument escalated, and I didn't hold back. You told Lily she was your only child. I shouted. You pushed her so hard she got injured. And you still wouldn't let her quit. She's not your trophy. Neighbors were openly watching now, some stepping onto their stoops. Dad grabbed my arm, his face red. Lower your voice, he hissed. I shook him off. No, I'm taking care of Lily now. She's safe with me. And if you try to interfere, I've already talked to the police and child services. I've got a lawyer, too. You're the ones who'll face consequences. Mom gasped, clutching her chest like a victim in a bad soap opera. You're kidnapping her, she cried. I stared her down. Lily's 18. She chose to leave. You can't control her anymore. I turned to the growing crowd. These people sacrificed my health for their pride. I yelled. They forced my sister into a life she didn't want. We're done with them. With that, I walked away, my heart pounding but my head high, vowing never to return. 8 years later, at 31, I retired from competitive card gaming. I'd planned to step back at 25. But supporting Lily became my priority. Her knee injury had ended her basketball career. But it sparked a new dream, becoming a physical therapist to help athletes recover. I paid for her vocational school, watching her transform from a broken teenager into a confident woman. She graduated with honors, her smile brighter than ever as she landed a job at a sports rehab clinic in Manhattan. One day, I'll pay you back, Emily, she'd say, her eyes sparkling. I'd just laugh. You already have, Lily. You're happy. Lily and I built a life free from our parents' shadows, anchored by Sarah and Mike's unwavering love. My card game trophies sit on a shelf, reminders of my victories, but my real triumph is the family I chose, and the sister I saved.